Dao De Jing, pronounced Dao De Jing. Chapter 14. Three senses reach out and find nothing, and in that nothing, the text argues, lies everything worth understanding. Qi bu jian, ming yu yi, ting bu wane, ming yu zai, bo bu de, ming yu huai, sai sanji bu ki jie, ku er wei yi, kai shang bu jiao, kai zia bu mei. Chain sheng bu qi ming, fugi yu wu wu, shi wai wu jiang wu wu zhai zhang shi wai hu wang, yin zhai bu jiren kai shu, sui zhai bu jiren kai hu, zhai gu zhai dao yi yu jin zhai yu, nain zhai gu shi wai dao zhai. Look at it. You cannot see it. Its name is Yi, the invisible. Listen to it. You cannot hear it. Its name is I, the inaudible. Reach for it. You cannot grasp it. Its name is Huai, the imperceptible. These three cannot be examined further. They blend into one. Above, it is not bright. Below, it is not dark, continuous, unbroken. It cannot be named. It returns to no thing. This is called the form of the formless, the image of no thing. This is called the elusive. Face it. You cannot see its front. Follow it. You cannot see its back. Hold to the ancient Tao to navigate what exists today. To know the ancient beginning. This is called the thread of the Tao. The chapter opens with a deliberate experiment. Take your three most basic tools for knowing the world. Your eyes, your ears, your hands, and aim them at the Tao. Everyone comes back empty. The text gives names to these three failures, Yi, Zai, Y. These aren't descriptions. They're labels for the absence of description. The Tao doesn't fit any sensory category, so the chapter names the gaps instead. Then it says, these three failures aren't separate. They're one. The Tao doesn't partially elude sight while yielding to touch. It's one thing, wholly outside the reach of any instrument of perception you have. Above, it is not bright. Below, it is not dark. Easy to read past, but it's doing something careful. Our minds want to place things on scales, lighter or darker, more present or less present. The text won't allow that. The Tao doesn't sit at one end of any spectrum. It's not in the spectrum at all. It continues without resolution. The character used for continuous here, Chinese letter, sheng, suggests a thread or cord, something that runs on without break. The Tao is unbroken, but it can't be named. And if you follow that thread all the way back, it doesn't arrive at some origin object. It returns to no thing, not emptiness as a deficiency, just the absence of thingness as we normally mean it. Then comes the strangest formulation in the chapter, the form of the formless, the image of no thing. This is not a riddle. It's saying that the Tao has a shape, but that shape is the shape of having no shape. There's a structure to formlessness. You can, apparently, come to recognize it. The word Chinese letter, hu wang, is often translated as vague or elusive, but it carries a sense of something at the very edge of perceptibility. Not gone, but not quite caught. Face it. No front. Follow it. No back. You can't approach the Tao from a direction, because it has no face to approach. You can't track it because it leaves no trail in the way a moving thing leaves a trail. Then the chapter pivots, and this is where it does something practical. Hold to the ancient Tao to navigate what exists today. The Tao can't be seen, heard, or grasped, but it can be held to. It functions as an orientation. You don't need to perceive it directly. You need to remain aligned with it. Think of a navigator who can't see the stars, cloud cover, fog, but who knows the pattern so deeply that they can still hold course. They don't require direct visibility. What they carry is older than this particular crossing. To know the ancient beginning doesn't mean studying ancient history. It means understanding the root from which things arise, that before all distinct things, before all contrast and comparison, there is this unnamed ground. To know that ground, or at least to know its shape, is called the thread of the Tao, the cord that runs through everything. What this chapter asks isn't effort in any normal sense. It's more like an adjustment of expectation. We tend to trust what we can verify, what we can see, measure, hold. This chapter isn't saying those capacities are worthless. It's saying they have a ceiling, and beyond that ceiling, something still operates. For most practical purposes, that may mean nothing at all, but there are moments, watching a situation unfold that you can't quite read, feeling the pull of a decision you can't fully explain, recognizing a pattern you can't name, where the claim that perception has limits isn't abstract. In those moments, the question isn't whether you can see clearly, it's whether you have something to hold to when you can't. The passage doesn't tell you what that something is. It spends the whole chapter explaining why it can't be described, but it ends on something almost practical. Knowing the thread is not the same as grasping the whole cloth. You don't need to see it completely, only to not lose it. The form of the formless. Not a paradox to solve, but a shape to learn to recognize. The next chapter is 15.